Did you know that dialogue can make or break your story? It's true. In fact, studies show that readers remember dialogue more than any other part of a book. A survey by the Reading Agency found that 55% of readers said memorable dialogue keeps them hooked. But here's a shocking fact. 80% of writers struggle with creating sharp, witty dialogue. They find it hard to make their characters sound real and engaging. If you're one of them, don't worry, you're not alone. In this video, we'll dive into the secrets of mastering dialogue that cuts like a knife and sparkles with wit. You'll learn how to create unforgettable characters, time your banter perfectly, and use non-verbal cues to add depth. We'll also uncover the art of crafting punchlines that stick and balancing humor with plot progression. Imagine your characters exchanging lines so sharp and witty that readers quote them long after they've closed the book. With the strategies we'll share, you'll transform your dialogue from dull to dazzling. Ready to unleash your inner wordsmith? Let's get started and make your dialogue the highlight of your storytelling. Chapter 1. Unleashing the inner wordsmith. Crafting unforgettable characters. Creating unforgettable characters is the key to sharp and witty dialogue. Start by diving deep into your character's backstory. Think about their upbringing, their experiences, and their personality traits. This will give them a unique voice. A study by the University of Southern California found that characters with well-defined backgrounds are 40% more likely to engage readers. So, give your characters rich, detailed histories. For instance, if your character grew up in a bustling city, they might have quick, street-smart responses. If they were raised in a quiet village, their wit might be more subtle and reflective. Next, focus on distinct speech patterns. Everyone has a unique way of talking. Some people use lots of slang, while others might speak more formally. Consider J.K. Rowling's characters in Harry Potter. Hagrid's dialogue is instantly recognizable because of his unique accent and vocabulary. Mimic this approach to make your characters stand out. Also, remember that witty dialogue often comes from contrast. Pair characters with different backgrounds or perspectives. Think of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. The contrasting personalities create a perfect platform for sharp exchanges. It's also essential to incorporate real-world quirks. Maybe your character always starts sentences with, "well," or has a habit of ending with a rhetorical question. These small details make dialogue more authentic and engaging. Don't shy away from flaws. Perfect characters are boring. Give your characters flaws that influence the dialogue. A character with a short temper might have snappy, impatient lines. Someone who is overly cautious might speak in long, drawn-out sentences. Finally, read widely. Pay attention to how great authors create memorable characters. Notice the little things that make the dialogue pop. Emulate, but don't imitate. Find your own style and let your characters' unique voices shine through. Chapter 2. The Art of Banter. Timing, Pacing, and Precision. Banter is an art form. It's not just about what you say but when and how you say it. Timing is everything. A well-timed quip can transform a dull conversation into an engaging one. One key strategy is to master the pause. In comedy, timing is crucial. A well-placed pause can make a punchline hit harder. The same applies to dialogue. Give your characters a beat before delivering their witty remark. Pacing is equally important. Keep exchanges quick and snappy. Overlong dialogue can kill the momentum. According to a report by the National Endowment for the Arts, concise dialogue holds readers' attention better than lengthy monologues. Precision in word choice is vital. Every word should serve a purpose. In his book, On Writing, Stephen King advises writers to kill your darlings. This means cutting unnecessary words to keep dialogue sharp and focused. Use contrast in dialogue to keep it lively. Characters with opposing viewpoints naturally create dynamic exchanges. Think about classic duos like Han Solo and Princess Leia. Their differing perspectives create memorable banter. Inject humor naturally. Forced jokes can feel out of place. Instead, let humor arise from the situation or the character's personalities. Oscar Wilde was a master of this. His plays are filled with witty lines that feel effortless because they fit the characters and the context perfectly. Remember, not every line has to be a zinger. Balance sharp dialogue with moments of sincerity. This contrast will make the witty lines stand out even more. Practice is essential. Write dialogues focusing solely on timing and pacing. Read them out loud to see how they flow. Listening to real conversations can also help you get a feel for natural rhythms and pauses. Finally, study comedians. Comedy is all about timing and delivery. Watch stand-up routines and note how comedians use pauses, pacing, and precision. Incorporate these techniques into your writing. Mastering the art of banter takes time, but with practice and attention to detail, your dialogue will become sharper and wittier. Keep experimenting with different techniques until you find what works best for your characters and story. Chapter 3: Wit Beyond Words, Non-Verbal Cues and Body Language. Sharp, witty dialogue isn't just about what characters say. It's also about what they don't say. Non-verbal cues and body language can add a layer of wit and meaning to your dialogue. Start by incorporating facial expressions. A smirk, a raised eyebrow, or a knowing glance can say more than words. According to Albert Mehrabian, 55% of communication is body language. So, use it to your advantage. Consider a scene where two characters are having a heated argument. One character might cross their arms and tap their foot impatiently. This non-verbal cue adds tension and depth to their words. It shows the character's frustration without them having to say it. Gestures can also enhance dialogue. A character might roll their eyes after delivering a witty remark, adding an extra layer of sarcasm. Or they might shrug nonchalantly, downplaying a serious situation with humor. Posture is another powerful tool. A character leaning in can show interest or aggression, while leaning back can indicate relaxation or disinterest. These subtle cues can make your dialogue more engaging and realistic. Silence is golden. Sometimes, the best response is no response at all. A well-timed silence can speak volumes. It can convey shock, disbelief, or even mockery. In her book, Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking, Susan Cain highlights how silence can be a powerful form of communication. Use props to enhance dialogue. A character fiddling with a pen, sipping coffee, or flipping through a book can add layers to their dialogue. These actions can underscore their emotions or create a contrast with their words. Eye contact is crucial. It can show connection, intimidation, or deception. A character avoiding eye contact might be hiding something, while a steady gaze can indicate honesty or challenge. Consider the setting. The environment can influence body language. A character might feel more relaxed and open in a familiar setting, while being in a strange place might make them more guarded and tense. Lastly, study real-life interactions. Observe how people use body language and non-verbal cues in conversations. This will help you create more authentic and engaging dialogue. Chapter 4: Punchlines with a Punch, Crafting Memorable One-Liners. One-liners are the zingers that stick with your audience. They're the lines people quote and remember. Crafting them takes skill, but with practice, you can master it. Start with brevity. A punchline should be short and to the point. Mark Twain once said, "The right word may be effective, but no word was ever as effective as a rightly timed pause." This applies to one-liners too. Keep it concise. Use surprise. A great punchline often has an element of the unexpected. It catches the audience off guard. For example, in Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Bennet says, "For what do we live, but to make sport for our neighbors, and laugh at them in our turn?" The humor lies in the surprise twist at the end. Wordplay is your friend. Puns, double entendres, and clever turns of phrase can make a one-liner memorable. In his play, The Importance of Being Earnest, Oscar Wilde wrote, "I can resist everything except temptation." The wordplay here is brilliant and timeless. Timing is everything. Deliver your punchline at the right moment for maximum impact. In the movie, The Dark Knight, the Joker's line, "Why so serious?" works because it's delivered at a tense moment, adding an unexpected twist. Character voice matters. A punchline should fit the character's personality. A witty character might use sharp, clever lines, while a sarcastic character might have more biting humor. Tailor your punchlines to match the speaker. Use contrast. Pairing a serious situation with a humorous one-liner can make the punchline stand out. In Harry Potter, after a tense moment, Dumbledore says, "It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live." The wisdom mixed with a light tone makes it memorable. Practice makes perfect. Write multiple versions of a punchline and choose the best one. Don't be afraid to experiment with different wording and delivery. Test your punchlines. Share them with friends or read them aloud. See which ones get the best reaction. Comedy is subjective, but feedback can help you refine your craft. Remember, not every line has to be a punchline. Use them sparingly for greater impact. Too many zingers can overwhelm the audience and dilute their effect. Finally, study the masters. Watch stand-up comedians, read books with great dialogue, and analyze what makes their punchlines work. Incorporate these techniques into your writing. By focusing on brevity, surprise, wordplay, timing, character voice, contrast, and practice, you can craft punchlines that leave a lasting impression. Keep experimenting and refining your skills, and soon, your dialogue will sparkle with wit. Chapter 5: Subtext and Sass, Adding Layers to Your Dialogue. Subtext and sass are powerful tools for adding depth to your dialogue. Subtext is the unspoken meaning behind the words, while sass brings a sharp, often humorous edge. Start with subtext. It's the underlying meaning that isn't directly stated. In The Great Gatsby, when Daisy says, "I hope she'll be a fool," that's the best thing a girl can be in this world, a beautiful little fool. She's not just talking about her daughter. The subtext reveals her disillusionment with society. To create subtext, focus on what your characters want to hide or reveal indirectly. A character might say one thing but mean another. This adds complexity and engages the reader, making them read between the lines. Use metaphors and symbols. These can convey deeper meanings without being explicit. In To Kill a Mockingbird, the mockingbird symbolizes innocence and goodness. The dialogue around it carries this subtext. Body language plays a role in subtext too. A character might say, "I'm fine," while their clenched fists and averted gaze suggest otherwise. This contrast between words and actions adds layers to your dialogue. Sass, on the other hand, adds flavor. It's the witty, sharp-tongued responses that make characters memorable. In The Devil Wears Prada, Miranda Priestley's line, "That's all," cuts sharply, demonstrating her authority and dismissiveness in just 2 words. To write sassy dialogue, channel your inner wit. Think about how you or your friends respond in quick, clever ways. Use this as inspiration. Practice makes perfect, so keep jotting down sassy lines when they come to you. Characters with strong personalities often deliver the best sass. Think of Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. His sharp tongue and clever comebacks define his character. Balance sass with sincerity. Too much sass can make a character seem one-dimensional. Use it to highlight specific traits or situations, but mix in genuine moments for depth. Reading widely can help you understand subtext and sass better. Notice how authors like Jane Austen or Neil Gaiman use these techniques. Austen's Pride and Prejudice is filled with subtext and sass, especially in Elizabeth Bennet's dialogue. Practice writing scenes where the subtext is more important than the actual dialogue. Challenge yourself to convey emotions and intentions indirectly. This will strengthen your ability to add layers to your dialogue. Chapter 6: Dialogue Dynamics, Balancing Humor and Plot Progression. Balancing humor and plot progression is crucial for engaging storytelling. Humor can lighten the mood, while plot progression keeps the story moving forward. Start by ensuring that your humor serves the story. In Harry Potter, Fred and George Weasley's jokes add levity, but they also reveal their personalities and coping mechanisms. Their humor doesn't detract from the plot, it enhances it. Use humor to develop characters. A character's sense of humor can reveal a lot about them. In Parks and Recreation, Leslie Knope's quirky humor shows her optimism and dedication. This deepens the audience's connection to her. Intersperse humor with serious moments. This contrast keeps the reader engaged. In Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman's comedic lines provide relief amidst the tension, making the dark plot more palatable. Avoid forced humor. If a joke feels out of place, it can disrupt the flow. Instead, let humor arise naturally from the characters and situations. In The Office, the humor comes from the characters' interactions and unique personalities. Plot progression should always be your main focus. Every piece of dialogue should move the story forward. In The Hunger Games, Katniss's conversations reveal important plot points and character motivations, ensuring the story keeps advancing. Use dialogue to build tension. In Gone Girl, the dialogue between Nick and Amy creates suspense and drives the plot twists. Their conversations are filled with underlying motives and secrets. Humor can also be used to foreshadow. A light-hearted comment might hint at future events. This adds depth and keeps the reader guessing. In Friends, Chandler's sarcastic remarks often foreshadow his insecurities and future developments. Balance dialogue with action. Too much dialogue can slow the pace. Mix in actions and events to keep things dynamic. In The Martian, Mark Watney's humorous logs are balanced with his struggle for survival, keeping the plot moving. Edit ruthlessly. Cut any dialogue that doesn't serve the plot or develop the characters. This keeps your story tight and engaging. Hemingway's iceberg theory, showing only a fraction while implying more beneath, applies here.